Hello, welcome back to the Tokyo Podfathers podcast. Here today we have Mozilla Fennekin with his sealed collection of Pokemon cards. It's an unboxing video, guys. Check it out.
No, on webcam. I don't even have it in this room right now. Oh, sorry. I just got a text from Shaw.
Ooh, you have multiple. He's so popular now. He's got multiple PC setups. Well, one webcam's got the other, the streaming platform area. Then he's got his recording.
That's actually not at all what's happening because my main room that you would normally see me in has been slightly destroyed. So I'm actually in my bedroom, and that's also why I'm a little more echoey today.
I couldn't tell you. You sound great. And we also have Sinners here.
Hello, everyone. I, too, am not in my usual recording setup, so if my audio sucks today, then apologies for that. But
You did mention that. Are you on a phone? Are you on a laptop?
I'm on a laptop using just like a headset mic, because I'm at my parents this weekend taking care of their dog while they're away.
Oh, nice, dude. Well, I'm a ton of bacon, and I have the main setup, which means I'm the one that's leading this episode, since I'm the one that's clearly well equipped here.
Fair enough. And also, you have a more valuable sealed collection of Pokemon cards.
I really should crack it open, honestly. Like, it doesn't... There's some things in it that are pretty cool. Like, I have like a...
Alright, what are we talking about?
What'd I say about cutting me off? This is a card rant. Today we're going to be diving down into Made in Abyss Season 2, which concluded at the end of summer, to my knowledge. And I gotta say, so just starting off just in a general overview of the series, we're walking into Season 2 after the movie.
Yeah.
Which if you guys haven't checked out the movie, very crucial to the story. It's not one of those movies where it's like, oh, it's not canon, but it's content, which is what I really enjoyed.
Well, there are two movies that recap the series, technically, so those do exist. So,
yeah.
So the official watch order of Made in Abyss is either you watch Season 1 or you watch the two recap movies, and then it's the third movie, which is called Dawn of the Deep Soul, and then you get into the second season, which is Golden City of the Scorching Sun.
And to cut in real quick, if this is you're listening to this and not aware, we also did episodes after the first season and after Dawn of the Deep Soul.
Yeah.
So if you haven't heard those, you might want to check those out before getting into this one.
I would still like to reiterate some thoughts that we have had about Made in Abyss in the past.
I don't think the other two are going to be like required listening to know where
they
stand.
Yeah.
But people might be interested.
But we are going to basically just spoil Season 2, so worth noting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you haven't checked out Made in Abyss and you were just listening to us talk, just check it out, try it out. Like, maybe this review of us talking about it and spoiling everything will maybe push you to watch it. Who knows?
We've recommended it since 2017.
Yeah, it won. If you guys care about award ceremonies like we do, it won Best Anime of the Year in Crunchyroll. What's it called? Crunchyroll Awards?
Yeah, just Crunchyroll's Anime Awards. That's what I call it, at least.
I can tell you care about them so much, Bacon.
I have, dude. If you want me to watch Crunchyroll Awards, someone's got to go up and slap the Trash Taste podcast people in the face for making fun of my waifu. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'll be like, leave my waifu's name. I'm joking.
You know they're on tour right now.
They are on tour. I think they actually.
I went to a concert recently and saw like. I was walking through the theater district and saw there was like a poster up that they were going to have a live show.
Yeah.
They were going to have a live show here. So they're having a live show here in where I'm at. And I just looked at that and I looked at ticket prices. I don't even listen to them often. I think I only listen to them when they have that porn star on. And like the prices I can't really like justify. I'm like, yeah, it's like 50.
They're more expensive than actual bands that I have seen.
I know. Who do
they're coming to KC like probably the day this comes out, and yeah, that's they've almost sold out the venue, like a pretty big venue. So good for them.
Wow,
Jesus.
Yeah, I guess they're a little popular.
I've heard of them, you know what I mean? They're not popular like us, man. Now, when we go live, dude, we're selling out arenas. We're going to do the O2. We're going to do freaking Red Rocks like Bill Burr.
Absolutely. But what the fuck were we talking about, by the way?
We're talking about Made in Abyss. Okay, here's the thing that, going into it, right? for me. If we talk about personal experiences towards the beginning, I'm already hyped that I'm getting more Made in Abyss content, especially after the movie. I was a huge fan of the movie, right? And I remember you guys were saying, like, wait until you reach this X episode, because I had the nerve off camera to say, hey, I think I've seen everything in anime kind of deal. Like, I've seen some pretty crazy stuff. I don't think there's not much here that could kind of, like, not really affect me, but, like, I feel like I've seen some things where I'm just like, yeah, that's standard.
You knew what you were getting into, that you could talk about Made in Abyss without finishing this season.
Right, because we were trying to make that call whether or not I should just talk about Made in Abyss with you guys while only finishing the first 6 episodes. And you're like, might as well finish it.
Yeah.
Because I remember the first episode, and side note, every gruesome part that's ever happened in this anime, I was eating. Because I get home from work and I got to multitask, right? Like, I'm working 10 hours. I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat dinner and watch Made in Abyss. So when I first started the season, it's like, okay, so we got some people who are... Obviously, this is like a prequel to everything. And like automatically, like you see one girl, she's getting abused. I'm like, okay, this is standard. Like as I bite into my Dick's burger, like this is standard. And then moving forward, it was cool because we're now in this, was it the 6th ring?
Yeah,
6?
And the 6th layer.
Which surprised me that everything just happened in this one layer. I was expecting like 2 layers of like travel, but it was like one where this entire thing happened.
I was kind of surprised in the opposite direction, but we can get into that later.
Okay.
Talk about like the structure of the Abyss, because I have some thoughts on that.
Right. Because piggybacking off of like them leaving that one area where in the movie where they go inside the submarine,
right?
The submarine part, which like, do you have to show Rico taking a dump? Like, I don't know what to make of all this. I get they're travelers, and these, like, there are times we make jokes about anime where it's like, oh, why doesn't show them changing clothes or going to the bathroom like real human beings, when in reality not a lot of people when watching movies, anime and stuff like that don't want to see that stuff, only if it's like a part of the plot. I felt like that part didn't really contribute to the overall like structure of the episode. It was just kind of like, I need to take a dump. It's just like, okay,
it was character
had to
for Made in Abyss.
It was
definitely in character for the series.
Fair enough. But doesn't mean I want to see more of it. You don't see me going like, that's my favorite shtick. What? A girl taking a dump. That's not a great shtick.
I mean, this is Trash Taste's fault for them joking constantly about how anime characters never shit. They solved it, guys. They solved the mystery. They do shit. It's real.
Dude, they like to talk about it a lot?
I don't know.
Really?
I don't fucking listen to them. It's just a joke I've heard them say, or at least Giga.
These dudes are selling out arenas. What the fuck? That's all we have to talk about is why aren't characters taking a dump in front of him, and why are they using the rainbow effect? I want to see steam coming off that Joker. But going into like, I really like how we got kind of a prequel to people who've already head down that deep into the abyss, right? Cause,
yeah, totally. I 100% agree.
Because seeing those like travelers, which I felt sorry for them right off the bat, because they're painted as like, hey, we're basically exiled from our city and we're sent on this journey, so we basically have nothing to lose. Like, we're pretty much like, we have no home, so we're either going to make a home down here or we're not going to make it out of here alive. And it seemed like the entire time they were very acceptant of their fate from the beginning. Because it was like a feeling of exploration, adventuring, and I like that.
I think this is a really interesting place to start. So let's talk about the Ganja core. Which, first off, I think it's very funny that they're called Ganja.
Go on. Why is that? Did I miss a Japanese joke? Oh.
No, it's
Ganja's.
Man.
Yeah.
The Ganja.
Oh. Ganja's a nickname for weed.
Oh, didn't know that. See, I don't
there you
smoke.
Go.
I don't smoke, so
we're here to learn things today. So anyway, name aside, I agree. It's super cool to like see this parallel of a group that got this far into the abyss before, because I feel like that's something we haven't really seen very much from the franchise in the past, because they run into black whistles occasionally, every few layers, who have been down there for a long time.
Or white whistles.
This shit's been here forever, right?
Yeah,
Or white whistles, yes.
And sometimes they run into dead bodies, and it's just like, okay, another warning.
Yeah, but like there have been cave delvers for hundreds of years, but we don't really see a lot of evidence of them very often, especially in ways that like continue to affect the plot going forward. So I thought it was really cool to get glimpses of that.
Yeah.
And I also really liked how it's kind of their backstory is kind of weaved in through the first few episodes, because in the manga, the whole backstory of like their group existing and coming down into the pit before that and everything is given at once after Rico and Reg find Vueko in the pit.
So they just shoehorned it in there, and that's like your content for the couple weeks. And then like we never go back there again, but it's supposed to explain everything like other prequels.
Right, yeah. They find her, they find like this random woman, and then like the next couple chapters are giving all of the backstory up until...
Who is she?
Up until, what's her name, turns into the tower. Irubiri.
Right.
Yeah. So I thought that was a great change for the anime to make, to kind of weave it through a little more.
Damn, so you're a manga reader. I'm assuming, are you further than where you are in the anime? Are you?
Well, the thing is, after where this season adapts up to, there are only 2 more chapters.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Oh, so we're waiting a long time after this.
Yeah, we're waiting a long ass time, especially because this manga has like a very irregular release schedule. Where it seems like they kind of just put out a chapter whenever the author feels like it, which is like once every few months.
I mean, we need a break. That's for sure.
I've also been. I you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard that the mangaka is basically like a one-man group.
That I don't know anything about.
Okay,
wow,
that's what I've heard.
Yeah,
I mean, probably has some people assisting him every now and then, but yeah.
Man, who's this guy think he is? The Hunter x Hunter author? Like, I don't need help, man. I don't care if I'm in pain. I'm going to do this myself. 1 chapter a year. Let's go. It's like, Jesus, man.
So I think we can expect season 3 of this show in about 5 years, maybe.
Oh, God. Yeah. What is this, One Piece? God.
So, nobody hold your breath on this one.
Okay. I mean, I just want to see what's at the bottom. That's what drew me to the series. Right? Like, it's like a faster version of One Piece. Like, I just want to know what's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I care about the characters, and their story. I want to know where her mom is and all that stuff, and like the answer to everything. But what the hell is down there, right?
Right.
And I feel like I didn't really get that feeling of like the unknown a lot in this season. You know what I mean? It was more of kind of like here we are. There's a problem. There's a certain way this culture and city runs, and now you've been thrust into this situation because of who you are, your whistle, and the outside influences coming at you, right?
Yeah.
Like, the exploration was very prompt in this one. Here's the new city. Here's where we're holding up for the next 12 episodes. And that right there, I'm not saying that wasn't disappointing, but it kind of did like remind me of why I fell in love with this series in season 1, which was every layer was a new danger. You could say it's a flavor of the month for like the beginning in season 1, kind of like, hey, in this episode, we learn the importance of not going up the stairs. In episode 2, we find this one plant that's poisonous. Episode 3, we encounter a monster. This one, it was just piecing together this very elaborate disaster story and resolution of this one group of people that already landed here before the crew did.
You might not want to say it, but I will. I was a little disappointed with this season in that regard, because
I would agree. Yes, I'm on that
I would say that overall the season was on par with the first one for me, but it definitely did not have that sense of exploration that I really liked about the original season. And that I was disappointing, I will say. Maz, what did you think?
I don't agree with that. I thought I guess it's hard to say how I would feel about this in and of itself, basically, because I feel like we've already kind of gotten, or at least I've already gotten what I wanted out of Made in Abyss in terms of exploring new places and things like that. And I thought it was really cool, how this layer is its own setting, basically, and they use that as an entire season, because I thought the setting itself was so strong and there was so much that they could do with it that I was basically fine with them just staying there the whole time.
Yeah, I guess for me, like, I agree the setting was really good, and I enjoyed being in, like, Igloo Village through the whole season. But, like, the first episode, when they get to the 6th layer, they're looking around, they find the new wildlife. There's, like, the explosive bubble rain that's destroying everything.
the lava thing, yeah.
Like, the ruins of the Golden City and all. I thought that was all really cool, and then they enter the village at, like, the end of that episode, or maybe at, like, the end of the 2nd episode, and nothing else matters for the rest of the season. I would have, like, I'm not really entirely clear if we're done with the 6th layer now, or, like, whether we, like, basically haven't gone into the 6th layer at all at this point.
Yeah, so that was my question, was I think, I'm not sure if they briefly pointed it out, but they said, like, you know, that part is the city, and there's, like, another tower that leads lower kind of deal.
Yeah.
And my question this whole time was, the 6th layer, is that was what it was called on, like, their map, is the Golden City, or were there other dangers? Like, because it seems like the only dangerous thing inside the 6th layer is explosive lava rain and very, very bloodthirsty monsters, which, you know, it's same thing, different day, just like any other, like, layer, you know, because all the other layers that they traveled through had such a uniqueness to them that it was kind of like, it's dangerous, but for very different reasons across the board.
Yeah.
And so
it just feels weird to me that, like, first the Ganja Corps was, like, looking for the Golden City, and then Rico
we'll make our own.
We're expecting the Golden City, and they get down to that layer, and they're like, okay, this is the Golden City. There's nothing here. Let's not talk about it again.
Yeah, it's just like this is it.
Right.
Like we're only here to
why are there
problems.
the ruins of the city there? We have no information on it at all. I would have liked some more.
Because when the Ganja Corps
arrived there, I
also
don't want that at the expense of the story we did, because I also like that story. So it's a balancing thing.
You think they're gonna just cross into the next layer next season? I know we're kind of jumping ahead of, like, futures of this anime, but
I have no idea.
If the 6th layer was just this city, then it's kind of like, wow, that was an easy layer to get past. All we had to do was fix my whistle, fight, and get out of here kind of deal, which was, you know, and break out of all these value spells. Like Nanachi, like, bringing back Migi, I was just like, oh no, I know how this is going to go down. You know what I mean?
Right. This is also kind of like a gripe I had with the 5th layer too, which is covered in the movie, because there's nothing in the 5th layer except for Bonnerude's, like, research facility.
That's right.
That's like that's the entire layer.
It's like cliffs, snow, and, like, a city in the middle, and, like, that's the gate towards the 6th layer.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is it's possible to build settlements in here, which means Riko's mom's alive in, like, another city even lower, and that's what I think.
I don't know. Like, supposedly the 7th layer is the last one, so.
Oh, okay. I thought there was 10. What made me think there was 10?
There are 7 known layers. It's possible that there are more layers beyond the 7th one, but no one has been beyond the 7th one, or at least reported about it.
Is it 6 or 7 layers of hell in Christian mythology? 7?
7?
6? 7? Okay. So what you're saying is this is hell.
Yeah.
9 circles of hell.
Ah, dang it. I thought I was onto something. Damn it. That would have been really good.
Yeah.
Like, you get down there and everyone's like, hey, guess what? It's total darkness. I'm the devil. Nice to meet you. Like, what? Yeah, you're dead. What? That'd be the biggest twist. It'd be like Dante's Inferno. He didn't know he was dead. Like, Rico and Rig are dead. Oh, God. All right, so going to, like, so we pretty much got past, like, how, like, everything was set up. I say we get into the meat of it now. All right, what parts of this series make you feel kind of sick? Because if I were to describe this entire season, beginning, I feel uncomfortable, odd, and, for lack of a better word, misshapen. Because, like, you know, the characters in this city, you know, they're all hollows, right? And we see, like, the big pludges of flesh from the previous rings, right? And, like, or previous layers. And, like, I'm like, at that point, I'm kind of immune to it. Like, all right, yeah, Miggy, yeah, she looks like a puddle. And then you see all these other characters. It's like they actually have, like, structure, you know? Like, they're all, like, wearing clothes. They have their own, like, culture working with the whole value system, which was kind of... The value system was kind of, like, spooky to me kind of deal. And that freaking Ma girl got, like... That Ma thing got, like, mauled up, and I was like, Jesus, all right.
See, this is like, one of the reasons why I love the this setting so much, is that value system was just so cool. There are fantasy authors who are punching air at this while reading this series because they wish that they could come up with a concept like that. Like, I love this.
Dude, I'm doing
right.
Like, this arc is so great because Made in Abyss introduces an entirely new thing that could have been its own series. Like, this season could have been its own show where they introduce a setting with the, you know, this core economy and morality system. But no, it's part of something that exists on top of many other interesting conceptual things.
Yeah, like, imagine that system as like one of the sci-fi dystopia series we get at least once or twice every year.
Exactly.
You know? Like, it could totally just be its own thing.
I would say,
I mean, that could...
my feelings about how I feel about, kind of like how Bacon was saying he was misshapen. I guess in a way, you can guess how I felt about this when I said in our first impressions episode that I thought that all the coloring on, like, the walls and the ground would be like the remains of other hollows that have already existed in there, and they had, like, melted into the land. I said that. I thought that's what was going on. And then it turns out the reality of this place is a lot more horrifying than that.
You're right. You're right.
Because remember... Go ahead, Bacon.
Because, like, to piggyback off of that, everything felt so... like, the walls and, like, just the overall setting, it felt organic yet not organic at the same time. Like, the first dude that they talked to, that little puppet-looking horse... yeah.
I love
yeah, the whole time I'm just like, so they're hollows, but they've taken the form of toys? Like, this... Like, every time I saw a specific being inside that society... It just piqued so much interest in the form of, like, I'm not weirded out. I'm not interested. I'm just, like, staring at you, like, thinking, is this how I would react if I saw, like, an alien, right? It's this weird emotion of like, amazement, not really disgust, but it's kind of like, you are not me, but you're a being that I could connect with, kind of thing. Like, that's how I feel. I'm not sure how that's exploration feels in terms of, like, Enrico's and Reg's perspective. But to go off of that is kind of like, I wouldn't be surprised if the walls were made of flesh here, like what Ma said. But yeah, we're getting there. It's kind of weird.
I remember when we did our episode on the movie, one of the comments we got on there was someone saying, like, well, they just can't adapt the next arc, and if they did, then they'd have to censor it so heavily because of the level of body horror in it.
Great.
I was like, well, YouTube commenter, whoever you were not correct.
What if they did that just to flex on that YouTube commenter? Like, hold my beer, watch this.
They just really went in on it.
And I like that. I like that because I think we should... I don't want to say this in a way of like anime fans, but like, I like to think we're all adults here. We could kind of handle most things here, not unless there's some things in here where like I've yet to see an anime series to start by saying like, warning, this is not suitable for audience. Like, I haven't seen an anime series to give like a content warning kind of deal. Yeah. I mean, last time I got that was when I played Doki Doki Literature Club, and that was understandable. But I feel like we're at the point where like if you do take the step of censoring such things, it ruins kind of the immersiveness of the entire series. Like a funny example of this is like I'm a huge fan of Higurashi, and I watched like the first 5 episodes of the new series. And there's a part where a guy gets stabbed like crazy, right? Spoiler, like this guy gets stabbed. There's so much blood everywhere, but then in China, they censored it, and they censored it white. So it looks like, yeah, right. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It was a lot. And I was just ugh. But like, we censored the blood because we don't want to give the look of murder. But for me in Abyss, censoring anything would be criminal. Especially since, like, when the Ganja clan like reached hard times, and all that water, all that stuff growing inside them, and all the diarrhea, and I was like, oh, they're done. This is it. Right. The resolution of that is pretty horrifying. If you guys want to describe it or start it off, anyone, any takers?
Which level of resolution are you talking about? The part
oh god,
the part where Irumyuui transforms into the village, or even before that, when they recover by eating her children.
So yeah, eating children. So I assume this is what you guys are talking about when you said like, yeah, I watched the next 2 episodes, and I was like, all right. And again, like I was eating dinner as I was watching this, so it's like, oh crap, we're all dying. I'm like, all right, that's fine. And then
were you eating a thin, mysterious soup?
I was not eating soup. I remember I was eating meat buns from a Asian market.
Okay.
So I know there's minced meat in there. So don't get me wrong. I was still thinking that as I was biting into it, but just like, first of all, just the sad part of like, oh, I'm a child, I can't bear it, or like I was expelled and I'm infertile. I was expelled from my village because of that very fact. And I'm like, oh, that's rough. You know what I mean? But hey, you have a family now, And then, like, I'll give it to her. Like, give her that wishing egg freaks me out. I don't like how that exists. Just like, something that could grant any wish. I'm like, this is like Full Metal Alchemist all over again. You know what I mean? It's just like, don't give us that power. And she takes it in and ends up finding out, hey, look, I have a child. Like, I did it. And it's just like, oh, that's... Because I thought she was going to wish for, like, everyone to be healed, right?
Well, that's what they were hoping, too. They were like, right, it's going to be her childish, innocent wish. That's why they gave it to her.
For everyone to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's not what she wanted deep down in her heart. She wanted to bear a child. And so, they kept showing that over and over again. Oh, I have a child. Oh god, what happened? I'm just like, dude, you don't have to hammer it over and over again. That's when I started to like chew slower. I was just like, oh boy. I still finished my meal, but then I just sat there like staring. I felt very I don't want to say uncomfortable, but it's just that feeling of like you gotta stand up and take a lap. Like, come on, man. I was just like, oh, like even after that episode I was just like shaking my head like and it makes me question it with respect to Made in Abyss as a franchise as a whole, but it gives me this questioning of,
is the guy who makes this okay?
I'm sure he's okay, right? I'm sure he's okay. My thing is, with this series, is this the identity that Made in Abyss is going to be linked towards constantly? Because let's say we watch the next season, and our fans gonna be shaking their heads at the conclusion of season 3 by saying, not enough gore and disturbingness. 6 out of 10. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Like they only Made in Abyss could do this level of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do I sound crazy? Like,
no, you don't. It's actually a really good question that I have also with this series going forward. Is it feels like Made in Abyss has really reached its peak. And I'm just wondering, like, where does this series go from here? And how can it... I mean,
how
stories...
How can it, like, continue to raise the stakes.
Exactly. Like, you would expect a story to continue upping itself every single time. So how was it going to top the things that have happened in this season? I will say, though, I have also asked this question twice already. I asked this question after the first season when we got, Rico and her poisoning and bleeding out of everywhere and her fucked up hand and it fucking breaking that, and also Mitty, that also happened. So I'm like, okay, that's
all one season.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, that's the darkest this series is ever going to get. And then you get the movie with Bondrewd and the stuff that happens to Regu, and I'm like, okay, that's the darkest this series is ever going to get. And then you got this season where every episode I'm like, okay, that's the darkest this series is ever going to get.
Right. And side note, in the movie you find out what happens to Prushka, and you're like, oh, dude, like it's just it constantly hammers at you. And here's the point that I'm not saying this makes me worried about like the future of Main Abyss, but I feel like you reach a tipping point in like in terms of the content we're receiving. Right, you get to a point with the fans where, again, like I said, it's the expectation of like we're going to see something crazy. Alongside of it, it's the feeling of oh my gosh, what's the word of something that if you see something every time, you're not affected by it anymore. I'm blanking out on it. It's going to drive me nuts.
Desensitization.
Thank you.
Yes.
So when they show us the next crazy thing in season 3, and let's say it is harder and more grotesque than anything we've seen from previous Main Abyss series, will we react with like, this is standard, like rolling your eyes, like, let me guess.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, because I'm not saying, is this the fault of us, the fans, wanting more? Is this the fault of the creators for cranking the heat up too much? It really does make me think, because, I think, in my opinion, the next season should be the final season, and you should end it right here, or else you start getting to a point where it's like Main Abyss season 5. They end up eating dead bodies in order to heal the mother. Like what? You know what I mean? Like, it starts getting so crazy to the point where it's like, okay, like I feel like I shouldn't watch the series anymore because this is all they're gonna do, right? I'm not sure what series I could point out that do the same thing.
That's a really good point that I hadn't really considered, because I mean, like you said, Maz, I definitely didn't think they could up it this far already, and they did. But that episode where with Irumyui like starting to give birth constantly and everything, I am pretty comfortable saying that that's the most fucked up episode of anime I've ever seen.
It's
like I don't think it's even close to anything else. Like, maybe there's like 1 or 2 episodes of Psycho-Pass that had like similar.
Oh, dude, I already told you
but
I think I told you guys the part in Psycho-Pass that I still hold till this day is the part where I felt the most sick after.
All right, skip ahead 2 minutes to avoid Psycho-Pass.
Yeah. So the point that made me feel sick to my stomach was when they were still investigating another murder. It was the artist lady, and it was the one where like they murdered 2 ladies, and the guy bathed the dead bodies in epoxy resin or some sort of resin. And then he made that statue of them holding each other's head. The sculptures. That's where I felt sick. And the ending sculpture they showed of like them holding each other's like mangled heads. Yet the faces still burned into my head. The faces look so normal and painted purple. That's when I like turned off that's the first time I ever turned off my computer, and I had to like take a walk, and I was like,
that's a good answer. I was thinking of the episode with like the helmets that like hide people's crime coefficients. So there's the bit of like that guy like beating the woman to death in the middle of the street, and like because they can't see his crime coefficient is so high, like everything just ignores it.
And then
one of the robots like rolls over and like says to the woman, "It seems like you're in distress. Can I do anything for you?"
Okay. I'm sorry. That
is really fucked up. But
it was really messed up. But I have to laugh. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's how. This is how I cope. I have to laugh.
I laugh. I cope by laughing. Let me tell you, the episode of Irimiui and all of that stuff. So my reaction to it is that when that episode ended, I left my house.
I don't blame you.
I literally had to get out of my house. I'm like, you know what? I have a dentist appointment I got to schedule. I'm going to go do that.
Oh man, it really does kind of push the agenda of like kind of like how far can we go, and I hope they don't have that mentality. And that's the thing, I won't be mad if next season it's kind of back to business of like we're just trying to survive, we just need to learn what's going on, and we're this much closer to finding my mother. I'm all for that. I don't need to see like chop off my leg, like I don't need to see that.
So
but
I guess now that we're talking about it, my hope is that the next season is the one where we start like learning answers to things.
Yeah,
and that the way it can continue to up the stakes is not through like making it increasingly horrifying torture porn, but through showing us what's actually going on in the series.
Torture porn, yeah.
Whether
that's a good way to put it.
Whether that's like finding Liza again, or whether it's learning about like whatever the ancient culture was that made the relics and like the robots and everything, or like there's this implication throughout the series that like every is it 200 or 2,000 years? I think 2,000 years. There's like some sort of calamity that like causes like a mass extinction event on the island and creates another layer of the abyss.
Wait, I did not know this.
I forgot about that.
So every once in a while they like find a deposit of like tons of dead bodies in the abyss that they're all spaced out in like the age of the bodies by whatever the interval is. I think it's like 2,000 years.
Huh.
Oh.
Okay. It might be interesting to note that I'm on the wiki for Made in Abyss. It says that they've discovered the abyss 1,900 years ago.
Right.
So I guess if this is
the implication is that
this is going to happen again very soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Oh, okay, so next season is going to be about the calamity.
Maybe.
It could
It could also just be further exploring deeper, and the calamity stuff is still later to come. Who knows? But I think I'm hoping that next season is when we start addressing some of those things head
on. I hope so. Because like, you know, it's that question of like, this is why we were here in the first place, is kind of like to explore and look around and try to find the mysteries of the abyss, and arguably this is the youngest crew that's gone like this far into the abyss so far, and youngest white whistle ever, right? That's kind of like the things I kind of want to fall back into, which is like falling back into the white whistles and like, you know, see if there's any prequel content of like the mother's explorations is what I'm really fascinated about, because the mother probably passed through the Golden City as well, right? Did she just ignore that city and went like, F that, I'm going? Like,
yeah,
like, this is great. This is great culture.
Bit where like they have some pages from Liza's notebook in the market,
and that's it.
Yeah.
Right. So she must have gone through there.
Maybe did like, you know, what did she trade that was so valuable? Probably that page in her notebook, and they didn't even tell us what was like in that page. But
I feel like Rico did look at it at some point, but I don't remember what it was.
Tell us.
well, Rico, I don't think she actually saw it. She got the pages like at the very end when the village was like evacuating.
Oh, that's right. That's what I was thinking of. I was like, I know it came up again near the end, but you're right. She just got the pages at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but let's shift gears to one of the main characters in this entire season, Faputa. So, what do you guys think of Faputa?
I have kind of mixed feelings on Faputa, and that I liked her a lot, but I didn't really understand her character resolution. How's that?
Me neither. When she kept talking about like her goal, I was just like, okay, seeking revenge, but revenge for the wrong reasons? Like, what is this?
Yeah, so I didn't really get why she suddenly changed her mind at the end of the season.
it was after she breathed in like those particles and she saw the memories of her mother. Like that's what I understand. Like she understood her mother's I guess mindset or like life.
Well, changed her mind about what specifically? Like change her mind about destroying everyone in the village.
Yeah.
Right. Like she started like destroying for a greater cause.
Yeah, but then she ended up breaking the wall, and that brought in all the monsters. And then they started destroying the village, and she's like, "No, that's my job, assholes." But then they were destroying her, and I guess it's like, I guess she had a common, maybe not a common goal, but like, she wanted to like she claimed the village as her own, and I guess she wanted it to be ruined on her own terms in a way. It's like it was an act of both protecting her mother, which is the village, but like the villagers themselves have committed this sin of, you know, living this way and doing this to her mother in the first place.
Eating my mom's children, and then
so
she's giving them orders and letting herself eat them.
So she is like sacrificing them in order to also protect them, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Okay. It seems they're trying too hard to be like this deep philosophical thing.
I don't think it was really deep.
I think they were trying to be a little.
I think they were trying to be profound.
Yeah, I meing, technically everything is deep in this series.
I mean that's. I think that's the word. There we go, Maz. He's still got it. He's got some sprite.
Such a funny motherfucker.
Also,
God,
like,
dude.
spoilers for literally, like, a couple pages into the manga after where the season ends with regards to Faputa. So it ends with them saying, like, do you want to come with us? And she's like, no.
Right.
I won't. She does go with them.
Oh, she does?
Oh.
She just, like,
I really did think that was...
them.
I really did think that was what they were leading towards.
Yeah, they spend, like, a couple pages, like, going deeper on their own, and then they're like, hey, Faputa's following us.
Yeah.
And then she just, like, joins back up with them, and that's it.
I don't know if I like that more than what I thought would be the other outcome of this, which is that the gang would get in trouble at some point. They'd, be like, oh no, this is the end, and then Faputa comes in and saves them, kind of like Nanachi from the first season.
That's probably how they're gonna do it. Like, oh, I heard you guys were in trouble, and I didn't want to.
Well, she's already there, so they're not even going to get to that
like,
point.
I genuinely don't understand why they had her say, like, no, I'm not going to come with you, because she immediately does start going with them.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to, again, for anime watchers only, they want to leave us on a cliffhanger of like, oh yeah, she went through all this pain, now she has friends, and they're going to be with her.
It might be just with, like, how tight the series is. I would believe that they were, like, storyboarding the final episodes before those chapters actually came out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think Akihito is helping with anime writing. So I feel like he would have had a bit of a say on this, where he'd be like, hey, by the way, this is what's going to happen.
Right, but, like, I think, like, because of how tight the turnaround is between the source and the anime, it's entirely possible that they decided what was going to happen at the end of the anime before, and then he later changed his mind for the manga.
Sure.
But anyway, regardless of that, that's not so much the point. Is that I really enjoyed Faputa for her relationship with Reg, and her, like, it's kind of like a miscommunication plot where she's upset that he's not keeping the promise with her, but he doesn't remember her existing, much less making a promise or anything. But then once they have, like, reestablished enough of a connection that, like, Reg feels like he has a relationship with her now of the sort, I really like the dynamic between them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was one of the episode cliffhangers, I don't remember which one, but where he's trying to stop her from destroying the village, and she says something like, oh, Reg, you're so kind, but
so stupid. So stupid.
You're an idiot, you fool.
Right.
You fool. You absolute buffoon.
I know that's how I read it. It's just like, you're so nice, but you're such a fool.
Yeah,
but it's like,
but,
I've seen
you don't get it, dude.
I've seen other series that have done that kind of turnaround of like, oh, you had me there, but it's like, I'm actually going to commit to this horrible act right now. Which, it was. I wasn't say it wasn't predictable, but it was kind of like, I guess that was supposed to be the big gotcha moment of like, oh, hey, I remember, we're good, right? No, we're not. And then you're supposed to be like, no, like, why? And then we're supposed to learn like her greater reason for turning on him like that.
Right.
But so wait, we never really got an answer on why Reg doesn't have the memories. Is that addressed in the first season or something?
Still no idea.
We still don't know. Okay, that's all. That's what I need to know.
Yep.
I thought it was probably answered.
We don't know how he lost one of his arms, do we?
I forgot. That's the thing I was going to ask too. Like, he has a missing arm, but I'm like, did he lose that in the movie?
Because he had both of his arms during the flashback scenes in this episode. But I don't remember if we've seen how he lost that.
I'm pretty sure he's had both arms up until the movie.
I know Bondrewd cut it off, but I thought he put it back on.
Bondrewd did. Oh yeah, okay. Maybe Bondrewd kept it. What's going on here?
I don't know. Made in Abyss.
Made Abyss, dude. Increase
Maybe
your
I'll
release schedule quicker, faster, better release schedule.
Harder,
please.
better, faster, stronger.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was referencing. No, but like, let's see. Going into like.
Oh yeah, okay. He does lose his arm. That is the reason why, because Bondrewd cut it off.
Oh, it was. Okay. Never mind.
What an ass, dude!
Give it. Stupid. Yeah,
bro, give it back. The fuck.
The thing just watched like last year. Okay, got it.
Going into Irayumi, freaking turning into a village, right? And just turning into like a grotesque thing, and like pretty much the leader of the Ganja clan, like that guy. I have nothing against that dude. That I guess that guy's playing 5D chess, and he's got like the strongest faith possible. He's like, no, that's our savior, and like you're gonna see why. And then it's just he seems like a really cool leader.
I was curious what you guys thought about that
guy. I just thought he was just on this path of like, let's make it work. If it doesn't work, then that sucks.
Sorry, which guy are we talking about again?
The leader of the Ganja Corps, Wazukyan.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the one who fed them the babies. He's like,
what I think
told you.
He represents basically like what the series is and like the general mindset of people in this world, where they kind of have this utilitarian look on life, where their goal matters more than the value of human life, basically. So the things that he does, I guess in a way they would be despicable, and to some of the characters they are despicable. But I thought the most like the way you can summarize how characters work in Made in Abyss is, you get that guy's entire story, and then he asks Rico, he's like, all right, so do you hate me now? And she's like, I don't really know you. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it's like. People do crazy shit, but it's like, well, it was for the sake of the Abyss. I mean, sure, they survived. So I guess what he did was, the right thing to do for their survival.
And one of the big themes of this series has always been how the Abyss, like, provokes obsessiveness in people.
Madness!
Like, how even Rico is, like, totally a victim of this.
Mm-hmm.
That she's just obsessed with getting to the bottom of the Abyss, doesn't care about anything else.
She's obsessed with adventuring.
Right. And, I mean, to some degree, that's also because of her, what was the box called? The magic box that brought her back to life.
Oh, is that the thing she was born in that was carried by Ozen?
The curse warding box, yeah.
Yeah. I remember, that was a weird episode.
The curse warding box like brings dead things back to life because she was stillborn and then put in the box. and came back to life.
I forgot about that.
But
Dude,
then things that come back to life from the box start like immediately trying to get to the center of the abyss. And so kind of the implication is that everything she's done since then, like her entire character, is really nothing to do with her. It's all like the curse from this box of her obsessively trying to get back to the center of the abyss.
Oh, that's right.
And so, like, we see that same sort of obsessiveness with Wazukyan too. Like anything for the goal, whatever exactly that goal might be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of another reason on top of why I love Made in Abyss so much is because, like, when all this crazy stuff's happening down here in this pit, it's like, this is what it's about. This is what happens, you know? It's that obsessiveness that is always a fascination with me, you know, like almost like an addiction, right?
Right.
Because every white whistle's out of their goddamn mind, right?
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing, like, I firmly like believe in. It's like, dude, like you're obviously blah blah blah, you know, greater than me because like you've done all these things, but it's like, dude, like you don't even know you are crazy.
I mean,
We've all lost it in some way.
I mean, Rico at this point is a white whistle.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and that's the thing that should happen next season is that she should just lose her mind. You know what I mean? Just like go crazy, like you know.
You're into the mind break tag. I get it.
Shut up. You'll know me. You'll know a dog.
What did you guys think when Belaf gave her the ultimatum? It was like, I'll trade you back Nanachi in exchange for either, what was it? All your limbs or half your internal organs?
Yeah, half her internal organs or one of her eyes and legs.
That's right.
Yeah, you know what? I actually thought that was going to happen. I thought she was going to do that because
damn.
Like the thing about Made in Abyss that is kind of teetered with is that it can't put Rico in too much danger. Even though the things that happen in Made in Abyss are so deadly, it's also, you know, like if Rico dies, then it's just game over. So it can't go too far. And that's kind of why they had to put a special rule for this season where they kind of temporarily turn off the curse of if, you know, you just like blow up if you go up at all.
Right, yeah.
So, because, you know,
they finally brought it back at the end. But
and I mean, I could get into that in a bit. But anyway, like Rico can't die. That's the whole thing. And so there are some things that this series just cannot do. But she can lose an eye and a leg, and it wouldn't completely end her journey. So I'm like, oh, this is probably going to happen.
Yeah, like it is feasible that she could continue with that. Right. Yeah, I 100% thought that she was going to make the deal.
It also shows that it could be like a bit of foreshadowing because she was thinking about it to the point where, like we were saying a few minutes ago about like the obsession and the addiction of the abyss. You could say like Rico's like obsessiveness of getting to the bottom is probably going to cost her everything she could think of.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there probably will be maybe like an ultimatum of like, all right, you want to see your mom and reach the very bottom and have everything that you wanted out of this journey. You're probably going to have to give up Reg and Nanachi at the same time. And she'll probably have a second of like, I might do it. And it's like, wait. You know, like, we're your friends though. And it's like, nope, I think I'm going to do it. And
well, she was planning on taking the deal to get Nanachi back because that was the whole thing.
Well, that's a good point.
Because Nanachi was just sitting with Belaf because Mitty came back.
Right. So do we think Rico's going to lose her mind at the next season? I would like for that to happen.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it seems like, although I do believe in her and her crew getting to the bottom and stuff like that, part of me is kind of like, I kind of hope that Rico like messes up royally to the point where like it's like her fault kind of deal.
I definitely think we'll see a lot more of Rico getting fucked up by the time the series is over.
Yeah. I can't wait for that.
I mean, do you remember the scene in the movie where she like goes up the stairs and like crushes her own teeth?
Yeah.
Like everything, she starts hallucinating, and then like her. I forget her name. She's like, "Hey, you all right?" Like,
yeah,
it's crazy, huh? And like, she was like out of commission for like a good portion of like the first part of the movie.
Right.
Just because, like, and yeah, like going towards the end. What's the V I forget the name.
The what?
The Velicum, yeah. Dude, the names in this the names in this season, I gotta say, very I can't pronounce a damn thing. When Velicum was going up the stairs, I was thinking to myself like,
that was so nasty.
I was like, are they is V freaking like immune to it? I was kind of thinking like, yeah, V's immune to it, but then all of a sudden she just like collapses. I was like, oh, they're just gonna have it.
Her eye like popped out. That was
You know, I feel like that scene was maybe my least favorite thing about this whole season. It almost felt. I could agree. It almost felt like I don't know, like it was just a little too much. Not in the sense that it was just, you know, more grotesque or anything, but it's just like, did that really need to happen, man?
Yes.
I don't know. Like, I mean, why was she even there in the first place?
That was my question. I thought
what the fuck
she was
she
gonna
even doing. She was like minding her own business, and then it's like, all right, we're gonna fucking destroy this character because she really deserved that. Like, I'm like, geez, guys.
They did like the weakest form of like foreshadowing. Like they're like, oh, I wonder where she is, and then they showed the eye hollow, and the eye hollow is like scared, like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah.
Well, she went up the stairs because she was trying to like save that other hollow from like disintegrating, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I think it makes some amount of sense she'd do that and not realizing the consequences because it had been so long since they had to worry about the curse.
Yeah.
She did mention that. She's like, oh crap, I forgot about it. But in my mind the whole time I was thinking like, you're going up a lot of steps, like even like
right.
And
I think like also they kind of had to just like clean up the loose ends for the season. And every other character from this season was going to disintegrate when the village collapsed.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't exist outside of it. But she was not a hollow, and so like theoretically could continue to survive. So something had to happen.
They're just like, we have your usefulness has run out. Die.
Right.
God, that's really unfortunate. But yeah, I was thinking. I was pretty much thinking overall that the part that they just kind of, I'm not saying like it was supposed to be kind of icing on the cake of like, her dying was supposed to be like the saddest part of the series, because there were like multiple sad parts that took place in the series. But the one thing that again made me feel kind of like, oh man, I didn't really need to see that, was when they were lugging her around and she's all jacked up and then they did the whole like part at the end where they had their moment together and she's basically telling her everything about Irili and like her life together, Irumui, and like their life together and all that stuff. And so I was thinking like, oh, that's really sweet, but like they have to always add a bit of grotesqueness into it on top of it. Yeah, it was a little rough to watch.
Yeah, I also thought that was a little excessive, but although I think like at that point in like the last couple episodes, I was also like a little more confused than anything. Like the mechanics of the village, I think, were vague enough that I didn't really 100% understand what was happening as the village was coming down.
And all those monsters came in, like the foreshadowing. Oh, that really big horse monster is the most aggressive. Like, I'm like, they're gonna fight that. That's Monster Hunter. That's Monster Hunter vibes right there.
Yeah, and then Faputa has her fucking transformation sequence, and I didn't really get what was going on 100%.
Well, the village, like it closes off basically the rest of the abyss, so the monsters can't get into it. Although on some occasions they can, and that does happen.
Yeah, because they like lure the monsters in sometimes to hunt them.
Yeah, and that adds value to the economy. And but like the main thing is that the abyss, the curse of the abyss is like a force. It's like a thing that I guess some creatures can even see or sense.
Yeah.
Like Nanachi can do that.
Yeah, because Nanachi can see it.
Right? Yeah. And that's also closed off in this village. But then when Faputa breaks the wall, she like breaks open a part of the village, the other monsters, they also start breaking in, and that eventually the force of the abyss also comes in along with it at a slow, natural rate.
It's like miasma from Final Fantasy.
Sure.
But yeah. Right. I was trying to compare it. I was trying to compare it to something cool. But
so what was the confusing thing about it?
I think I'm trying to remember now, but I think it was more to do with like what Faputa was trying to do at that point, because then she summons all the hollows back for something, and like the hollows like basically like help spirit bomb her. There was just I think looking back it makes sense, but while I was watching it there was just a lot going on.
Okay, that's fair.
No, I would agree with that. Like, there was just so much of these ideals, these beliefs, these like really deep speeches, and it's all said in this weird cryptic way to the point where I'm just thinking to myself, okay, do you love them or not? You know, like, are you happy or are you not? They just keep saying these weird ways of like, oh, and the sadness that is spread to this person, and I'm just like, oh, just say it, you know? I feel like they're just filling dialogue for the sake of filling dialogue at this point.
For a lot of the show, like, Vueko and Faputa are both trying to figure out, like, what did Irumyui really want? Like, she had these two, like, wish-granting eggs. What did she really wish for, like, deep in her soul? And I feel like at some point they figured out what the answer was, but they never explicitly told it to us.
So what was the second wish, I guess?
And so that made it difficult for me to follow what Faputa was thinking.
Yeah, because I guess at the end of the day, we don't know what Irumyui really wanted.
Right. Because, like, was she wrong that she was born to, like, take revenge?
I don't
because she always thought her purpose was to like avenge Irumyui by destroying the village, but is that not what Irumyui actually wanted from her? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, maybe at the end of the day, Irumyui did want to protect everyone, and that's why she did become the village. Who knows?
Right.
It's all open to interpretation, but maybe it shouldn't be.
Yeah. I think it's fine the way they did it, but
yeah.
But it did make things a little confusing for me personally.
I will honestly say, I had like zero problems with this season overall. I thought this whole season was absolutely freaking phenomenal, and
yeah, did you 10 out of 10 it? Like
I 10 out of 10 it, and the thing is,
you did that for the previous two installations, right?
Not the movie. I'm not entirely sure why, but I guess it's because, in a way, I've always felt like Made in Abyss has had like a bit of a shortcoming, and I would even say this for the first season. Even though I gave the first season a 10 out of 10, that's partially due to mostly due to my experience with it than rather the show being perfect. Because I feel like Made in Abyss has had some lows. Like the first few episodes of the first season were fantastic. Then the middle episodes are like, they're a little bit shaky. And then the last few episodes are amazing. Then the movie is great. But this season, I think, is where it really reaches its full potential. Like, it gives us everything that it's set out to, it gave us all of its promises, all of its wonders, and also its horrors at the same time. You get the full beauty and tragedy of the Abyss in this season. They introduce a setting that I thought was fantastic, and bring in all these characters that I thought were great, and just tell a really, really great story. So, yeah, it actually makes me want to maybe retroactively lower my score for the first season, because I felt like this season was so much stronger and just overall what I have wanted this series to be all along.
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing that you and I both appreciate the series a lot, but we appreciate like very different things about it. Because for me, I felt like the movie was like hitting the pinnacle of what this series could be.
No, I would agree with that. I like the movie quite a bit.
Yeah, so that's interesting. It just goes to show how much stuff is in here. It's a very dense series.
It's so dense. Every frame has so many things going on.
It's
but yeah,
thick.
That is kind of the thing. The first, like, a bit of a first impression I had for this season was it had what I now call the idea salad, which is just that there are so many things happening where it's like you could focus on all of them or any of them, and it would take a lot of time. You know, the fact that this village has, you know, again, its own economy, its own language, all these very, very specific ways that characters act and the things they do.
Right. Yeah, like I really enjoyed the little bits of like Rico trying to learn the language and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just all the little details of life in the village I thought were really well done.
And this season also, I think, we haven't even really talked about this, but this season really brings Rico into the forefront more, and you actually see her doing things, which I think is a bit of another bit of a shortcoming this series has had, is that Rico only does a little bit, and then it's mostly like Regu and or Nanachi who are doing like the crazier, dangerous stuff. But then in this,
that's true.
This season, Rico really uses her intelligence and becomes more of a driving force in the narrative.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I thought one of the best parts of this season was this monster enters the village, and I guess it's a recurring threat that they've dealt with before, but it actually starts to really wreck things, and then Rico's like, oh, well, I've got to do something about it, and then she sacrifices her hair to power up the guy. I forgot his name. But the horseman. Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, Geronimo is the big monster one.
Yeah, with the sword. No, the guide.
Majikaja. Yes.
Yeah, and I thought that was extremely hype. Also, Rico with short hair looks way better. I don't know why that wasn't a thing before.
Totally.
Oh, here we go again.
Much better.
Here we go. We're talking about short hair, bob cut, all this. Oh yeah, dude, I love talks like this.
Here's a question for you guys that might be a little bit of a controversial opinion.
I love controversial opinion.
I did not like what they had for Nanachi in this season. I thought that like having the MIDI reintroduced, like Beloff has a copy of MIDI. I thought that was a big step back for Nanachi as a character.
I'd agree.
Because I thought that Nanachi's character growth was one of the best parts of the movie, and a lot of that is her like having a reckoning with the things she did as like Bondrewd's accomplice. I was ready for her to move on a bit rather than spend like half the season like in a stupor because she sold herself for MIDI.
Right.
I understand.
And we have to see we have to see this again. Like, oh no, I gotta say goodbye again.
I will say that when Mitty
go
came
through this
back,
pain again,
I was kind of confused, and I thought that they were going to have to destroy Mitty again. Like, it made me think less of the ending of the first season, because I'm like, well, now that Mitty could just come back, that super cathartic ending of the first season where they destroy her, like, it has no meaning now. And I was upset with that. But they at least they ended up justifying it, and it made sense in the end. But I don't know.
Yeah. That was another thing. Like, I had to like go look up on the wiki to figure out how Mitty was there.
Yeah.
Like, just another one of those things, like the village mechanics that I
yeah, that was a really weird thing. I guess they could have done without it. I have no strong feelings, but I also understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just feel like we didn't need to see that again. The whole like, oh, I gotta say goodbye to you again. And it's like, oh, dude, like, she's gonna be in so much pain, all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, come on, like. That she has to choose, like, you'll choose, like, this peaceful life or, like, adventuring with your friends. I'm like, of course she's going to choose adventuring with her friends, right? Right? and then they made it look like it was hard for her to say goodbye again. Which obviously it is, because Miti's right there. It's all I ever wanted was just to be with you, and yeah.
But that is why I guess I don't feel negatively about it, because what is Nanachi's goal at the end of the day? Like, I don't think that her life, like, she's not like Rico and Reg where she's trying to find answers at the bottom of the abyss. Like, she's just kind of already there, and then she accompanies them. But then,
yeah, that's true.
But then when she sees Mitty again, she's like, well, now I have everything I need. Yeah, I'm in this place that's safe from everything. I have the one person I've ever really cared about in my life. What else do I need? Yeah. I can just stay here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point. But it's not real. It's not real. It's all a dream. That's what this village screamed in the beginning for me. It's like everything here is an illusion. Your value, what you own, and what you think you own, it's all an illusion. That's why when I saw Miti, I was like, that is not real. That's a hologram. It's
something I thought was really interesting about Wazukyan too, because it's kind of implied in the conversation he has with Rico, like that he wants Rico being there to be a catalyst to like continue their journey. You know, he was responsible for having this village established in order to save his group, but now he's kind of over it.
Yeah, because
he wants the village to go away so that so that like the journey can continue. I thought that was really cool. I thought Wazukyan, like, arguably the villain of the season.
Yeah.
Super interesting character, and I liked him a lot regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, arguably the villain. Oh,
yeah, who is the villain of this series? Because I guess in a way,
dragons.
What's up? Who?
The turbaned dragons are the villain of this.
That's true. Fuck those
the
guys.
Monster.
But like they kind of set up Faputa in a way to be the villain, and like in a way she sort of is.
Yeah.
Because she kind of goes against Riku and Reg and all that, but I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, dude, Faputa was muffing everyone up. Goodness. So
much
like...
You know Bone Druid is going to come back eventually at some point.
That would be crazy.
That's right.
Because he can still see through Nanachi's eyes.
Right.
So, he's not done. He'll be back eventually.
Yeah.
Sue's back.
I mean, I think they even implied in the village that he's kind of a recurring guest. That he's shown up from time to time.
He'd been there before.
Yeah.
Great. But we're cool with Bone Druid, right? We're cool.
Yeah, they fought it out and now they're chill.
Yeah.
They're chilling.
As Nanachi says, we have reached an understanding.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, thank goodness. Oh, I don't want to come back and be like, hey, you forgot about me. Thanks for clearing out this pesky village. And then he just starts like,
surprise, bitch.
I know that
was the last you saw of me.
I know that's what I was really worried about. Yeah, right, but overall, I think if you guys give like a score for this Abyss series,
10 out of 10, baby.
Really?
10 out of 10, and I would say Made in Abyss. I don't know where it ranks amongst my favorites, but it could be top 5 now. It was already top 10, but I thought this season. I mean, this Golden City, I think, is one of the strongest arcs of any anime or manga that I've seen.
Wow.
Yes.
Outstanding.
I really do think it should be up there with some of the best arcs anime and manga I've ever had. It should be in the discussion.
For me, I'm going to say this series is a solid 8. And
I was going to say 8 too.
A lot of me, I feel like, is still like waiting for the big stuff to come. You know? Even throughout the season, all the huge events in the season was all stuff that was introduced this season. Like, aside from running into Bone Druid, nothing that they've been building up to the whole series has happened yet. And I really want to see what that's going to be when we get there.
I just want to see the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, don't you dare do the whole, like, the real...
I want to see Liza. I want to learn about the calamities. I want to know more about what's in the rest of the world outside, because there's been like tiny little bits of that. But yeah, there's so much more to come, and I'm really excited to eventually see it.
Little do we know, It's all about the friends we made along the way.
The real abyss was...
And the real abyss is the friends we made along the way. No! How dare you? So offended.
That's something that you can't assign a value to.
Hey.
No, the friends we made along the way had a very clear value.
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly, you fool. You fool.
Yeah, now I'm gonna get gang raped by black blobs.
Yep.
Because I tried taking it away when I wasn't supposed to.
Jesus.
Right.
Jesus.
I feel like we've been jumping around so much in this episode that there must be something we didn't talk about. That like an hour after recording we'll be like, no! But I can't think of what else it might have been.
Eating babies, crying that my babies were eaten.
Rico taking a shit. I thought that was funny.
I turned into a giant fleshy village.
I'm just
real quick on the subject of like Rico taking a shit and everything. Yeah. I feel like I see people say that this series is like really weirdly fetishy a lot, and I see why people say that, but I think that that's wrong.
That's exactly what one of my buddies said. He's saying like, I don't get why they're taking these like weird turns with this series. I'm like, it's not really a weird turn.
I actually do see why people are saying it, and I think it is right, but I also think that the series is kind of taking the piss with it.
Okay.
Literally? No.
I mean, literally. But like the scene of like in the first episode or so where Rico's taking a dump, like they play like the generic fart sound, and it's so comically loud that I'm like, they are just fucking with us. This was clearly a joke.
When she's using the weird toilet in the village, and she's like, "Oh, like the toilet's feelers, like keep touching my ass." Like, it's definitely just really weird humor. I don't think there's anything like sexual or fetishy about it intended. I think the author just has like a really weird, like excretory fascination and makes a lot of weird jokes about it.
I mean, I remember that part where it's like, oh, hey, this is like a, obviously she doesn't say it, but it's like, hey, it's like it's a bidet. Look at it. It's just,
right, yeah.
It's the most intricate bidet ever.
Yeah. Like there's the part where Faputa is like crawling all over Reg and like puts her head down his pants, and he's like, get out of there.
Yeah, get out of there. Oh yeah, you weirdo. Yeah.
It comes across like really grossly fetishy at first, but I do think it's the author just thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
No, I could agree with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
And that's all I have to say about that.
All right. Good.
On the subject of that, just slightly, the actual most uncomfortable I felt in this season was when she stuck her nail in his navel.
Oh fuck!
That fucked me up. I'm like, no.
Really speaking of sticking things inside Reg, that part where they were fighting, and then Faputa just stuck her whole arm inside Reg. He's like, if I can't beat you on the outside, I'll beat you on the inside.
That's how I wonder how the fuck this series gets any further. Like, how do you do worse than that?
Oh, I forgot about that too, Bacon. That was so gross.
I know. In my mind, I'm like, I think Reg's out of running. Like, there's no way you're gonna recover from that.
Reg's just fucking dead.
Yeah, because
like her whole arm like all the way down him.
Yeah, and then like you've seen her claws. Like it's like, dude, she like destroyed her esophagus, stomach, probably grabbed a heart or a metal heart.
Testament to how tough he's built, though.
Literally built different.
I mean, shout out to the freaking interference units. Those units.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Oh
yeah. There's like 5 of them, and then 2 of them like got destroyed inside the Golden City, and then 1 was left, which is the one Faputa basically repaired back to health, which was
and that
probably
was
the saddest part of the series. Like when it wasn't, when it was saying like when it actually had like sentient like feelings.
I'm a sucker for.
I was like, stop it.
Yeah, that was that was really really sad. Yeah, the thing gets crushed by the dragon.
Yeah,
and it's
what's his name? Goomba?
Gabaroon.
Gabaroon. I was like, no. And then when it showed from Gabaroon's perspective of it like shutting down, I was like, stop, no.
Sucker for that stuff.
It was very similar to the anime. If anyone has seen or remembers this, Somali and the Forest Spirit. That's what I thought of.
Yeah. There's also the robot that dies at the end of the first season of 86.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, emotionless beings or beings that shouldn't have emotions or sentimental feelings actually having emotions and sentimental feelings. That's one of my favorite tropes, honestly.
Right.
That's just such a great emotional hook.
Totally.
I mean, that robot was learning throughout the entire relationship with Faputa, which was wild.
Right.
You know,
the idea of those robots, right, is that they're information units, right?
Yeah, they literally just exist to observe things. Yeah. Observe the abyss, right. I guess.
But it was kind of helping Faputa. It was raising Faputa at the same time, though.
Yeah, it was raising her pretty much.
Yeah.
God, that's so crazy. Yeah, now I can't stop thinking about the robot. I feel sad now.
Yeah. Really.
Why'd you guys make me feel? Why'd you guys make me feel this way?
And also, I guess last thing is shouting out the soundtrack, which is of course great.
Of course, yeah.
This is the series that put Kevin Fennekin on the map, and the soundtrack will officially release, I think, next week or so. October 20-something, I think, is when they said it will happen, and I'm really looking forward to that. There was one song they played during. It was supposed to be one of the big emotional build-ups, but it was a song that had this chorus going, and I'm like, oh my god, that's such a great hook. How I'm so distracted. It's supposed to be emotional, but I'm vibing. I love it so much.
No, yeah, I think the soundtrack is what sticks out for me as well for the series. I'm a sucker for any good soundtrack from an anime, even good or bad. And I'd say good for him. I hope that he continues to get more work, even outside of Made in Abyss.
Oh, he does.
Where? What anime? Only anime. That's all I care.
Tower of God, Shield Hero. Those are the two.
Those
are the two big ones.
I do like Shield Hero. I hope he gets
more good work out.
Exactly. Yes.
Ouch! Oh, dude. Good work.
Oh, he did. Well, I don't think he did all the music. He contributed a little bit to Star Wars Visions.
Ooh, love your song. Mm-hmm. I got nothing else. I think this was a good one.
I think we've hit everything now.
Yeah. If there is something that we did not mention, then please tell us in the comments.
While you're being very angry about it, just you didn't give it a 10 out of 10 like Moz. Yeah, there's a word. Yeah, and just go from there. All right.
That's crazy how we're not all the same person, but that's okay.
I know. If we all had just the same opinions and kept agreeing, that would be such a better podcast. Mm-hmm. Gosh.
Yeah, Made in Abyss, good series. Hope it gets more installations soon. Although good installations, because I guess the other thing we should mention is that they just came out with a video game of it, and apparently,
yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and apparently it sucks.
Please tell me this is Monster
Hunter. What
kind
of video game is it?
I think it's an actual action RPG.
Is it set in the world of?
Yeah, it's
the story of the.
I have no idea what this.
You play as Reg.
You play as Rico. I think you switch between different characters. I'm not sure what the story is. I've just seen clips.
I just picture Fallout style survival where I'm
drinking
radiated water and eating babies. And it's just that's your health bar. You have to eat babies. What the? Yeah. Why do you have to integrate it in here? Stop it! I hate this. Oh man. Good stuff though. Good stuff.
Good shit, guys.
Yep. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Made in Abyss, it's pretty good. That's my review. There you go. Thank you.
Nailed it.
You should just cut the episode on that.
Yeah, I probably will.
I will. Postscript. There is one thing that should be mentioned that we forgot, and it's that right before that episode came out, the official Twitter account posted a friendly little encouragement to drink lots of water before and during the viewing of that episode. So, thanks a lot, you fucking assholes! Also, I just want to share a little bit of a personal anecdote. When we recorded this episode, it was during a baseball game. It's the postseason, and it's the Mariners playing the Astros. And when we finished recording, it was the 9th inning. And I'm like, oh, cool. This game looks like it's going to go into extra innings because it's scoreless, tied at 0 in the 9th. I'm just going to start editing this episode. And then I'll stop when the game is over, and I'll go to bed when the game is over, and I'll pick up on this another day. And you know what happened? The game didn't end for another 3 fucking hours! It was an 18-inning game! I edited this in one sitting! In one day! When I wasn't supposed to! You fucking idiots! You worthless pieces of shit! I hate baseball! I hate the Astros! It's all your fault! Why did you do this to me?! Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Thanks for listening to me rant. See ya!